This is a story of how one person's junk literally becomes another person's dream home. We join field producer Tom Gray and learn how a home was built from free materials listed on the internet and found items that would have ended up in a landfill.
Hey guys, Doug, Cindy.
Hey Tom, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Longevity
Hi,
Farms.
welcome to Longevity Farms.
I've heard a lot about this place. Now, is it true that a lot of this farm and your outbuildings is all built from Craigslist throwaway materials?
Pretty much. I'd say 90% of it was found on Craigslist. And there's also stuff that I've gotten from some of the jobs. I do construction. I have leftover stuff from my jobs that I incorporate as well.
15 years ago when we started, we actually bought a house plan thinking, no, we're going to build this traditional home. And then as the years started kind of going by, we're thinking, well, maybe we should try to do something a little less expensive. And then we started getting more into repurposing. We're thinking, well, maybe we could use different wood or windows just to maybe save on cost. And then we realized there were so many things that were being discarded and not used, just amazing pieces of windows and wood that just would have disappeared from Earth. So we brought them down here and just accumulated them in a couple of shipping containers. Our home turned into just a home that was pretty much repurposed, furniture and all.
I designed it and drew it and came up with it, but it kind of evolved as the project went along. When you're buying from Craigslist, you can't always, stick to a blueprint. We spent about 10 years before we started any construction of just stockpiling items here in the field. A lot of the stuff was taken off buildings that were, being demolitioned. And, somebody had a thought that, hey, maybe I could put this on Craigslist instead of burning it or throwing it in the dump. And that's where I came in. Being a carpenter, I love old growth, old wood, old everything. And they don't have a lot of the old growth these days. Everything's a quick grow product. So I wanted the old growth wood that only comes from repurposing. And I wanted the barn to look old the day it was finished. I didn't want it to look like a brand new, shiny building.
Yeah, it definitely has that rustic feel. You can't build it overnight, like you say, with new materials.
Right.
And Cindy, I know you're a big part of this whole operation and beautiful farm. What's your passion here?
Being outdoors and taking care of the garden and all the landscaping and the flowers. We are growing currently for just a couple of restaurants in town, doing some heirloom tomatoes, and we've got some watermelon and grapes, and we did asparagus in the spring.
Doug, the portable sawmill, something that not every home has, especially a farm. But you've got the skills and the talent to utilize such a product?
Well, you eventually acquire skills and talent when you get something like this. So it's been an integral part of doing the whole project. So I harvest the trees here. The mill enables me to cut it to any type of material I want, whether it's 3/4 or live edge or furniture, lumber, whatever.
And the lumber I see right here, it's all come from your own 20 acres?
We have a lot of timber here that we like to harvest, and a lot of it's dead standing. We're very environmentally conscious, so we don't want to lose our woods. We love our woods. And when you have a tree that's dying or dead and it's standing there, it's basically just going to be wasted. So I'm repurposing as well in the forest as much as I can.
Doug, there's a lot of trees right here, and I know that the house is probably already full and beautifully built. What's going to happen with all this one right here?
Well, this lumber here is future projects. We don't really have anything specified for it because I kind of do things on the fly. But I have a lot of projects that I'm working on right now. I'm working on a treehouse in the woods.
Doug, you're not lying. This is a pretty big project, a treehouse that everyone's going to love this one, huh?
Yeah, it's 12 by 18, and we put it up 12 feet in the air, so it's not actually built into a tree, but it's built in with the trees.
And I see is this telephone poles?
Yeah, these are repurposed telephone poles that I got off of the local power company that was pleased to see them go away.
Yeah. And you got some really rustic looking, what are they, 4x12s or something up there?
Yeah, those are repurposed 4x12s. They were stairs on an apartment complex that I took all the stairs out, and the 4x12s, I wound up with about 40 of them. These are rafters that we have made out of repurposed plywood that came from a warehouse that used plywood for their pallets. It's 1 inch thick. We laminated it and glued it and made a barrel. We're making a barrel roof on the treehouse. The stairs were repurposed out of a remodel job we did. We took them out of a home and they sat here for about 10 years. And I said, well, that'll fit with the treehouse. That fits with everything else. So we repurposed them here.
Well, I'm still waiting to see this house, Doug. Anticipation is killing me, so we've got to see what's inside.
I'll be glad to show you.
I can see what you mean. Look at the wood in this house right here. It's all reclaimed, huh?
It's all reclaimed. The beams here were found after the fact, after the house was drawn, but they fit so perfectly that I just brought them, incorporated them into the build. Found them in northern Missouri. They were actually the beams that went over a gymnasium for a high school.
And they're one continuous length?
Yeah, one continuous length. They're called a glue-lam beam. You know, we had to get the telephone poles set first and get them cut to length to set these beams on top. And the telephone poles are also another reclaimed from the Power and Light Company.
Right.
But the flooring on top of that came from an old building in downtown that was being demolished. It was 100 years old, and it was a warehouse. So it fit right in with the flooring I wanted to put in here. That's part of the fun of it, you know, is taking something and making something new out of something old, and making something really cool out of something that maybe wasn't in its original purpose, you know, like the flooring from the factory. You know, it probably wasn't that cool there, but it's a lot cooler here.
Yeah. What are some of those unique things that you put in the house here?
Well, there's several things. I've got a spiral staircase that takes you up to the living space, and I've got a hand dryer that came out of an old gas station from the 1940s, oldest gas station in town. They were remodeling it, so it was headed for the demolition pile. And those are dumpster finds that, you know, kind of make a house unique and, you know, special.
Mm-hmm. And what's above us, Doug? What's on the next level up?
Well, the next level is our living area, and I've got a few things that I've done up there as well, and I'd be glad to show it to you.
Oh, wow. This I wasn't expecting. Doug, this room it's gorgeous. You've got the colors, the wood, the rock. I bet you Cindy had a lot to do with the design of this room.
She did. She's the one who figures out where to put everything to make it, you know, feel like a home. I'm good at making that thing, but she's good at putting it where it needs to go.
As we were building, we were sleeping in a tent on the weekends outside, and then when the building was at least enclosed so we could get inside, we were sleeping on the floor, which isn't very comfortable. I said, so the next time we come out, honey, I'd like to have a bed to sleep on. So he got logs out of the woods, cut them, made a platform, put the logs down, and we blew up an air mattress, and that was the bed. And as of today, that is now our bed that he added a few things to make it a little more bedroom friendly. So
as a home that's not new, you've got that rustic feel. It looks like a homestead. It feels like a homestead. I noticed the windows. I love windows. Where did those windows come from?
Well, the windows were also a Craigslist find. I had windows initially slated for this build. These kind of fell into my lap, and it completely changed everything about the house. They're much better windows, much bigger, much open, and that's what we were looking for.
And the floorboards, I love floorboards like that. Very rustic, very natural. It looks so nice.
Well, this is the side that was the factory workers worked on, and so it has a lot of the patina that came with that wood that was used in a factory. So I kind of left that. We didn't sand it. We didn't do anything to it. We put a slide coat on it, and it makes a real warm, beautiful floor.
And the modern kitchen, you got some modern features in there that everyone needs to have for cooking, and it's a really nice combination of both, the old, the new, and of course the efficiency is going to have to be the thing you're really looking for, right?
Yeah, efficiency was a big factor. You know, like the stove. That's something I bought new because I want the scraps that come from the mill, I want it to be as efficient as possible to heat the house as much as it can. And the older stoves were great, they're pretty, but they just don't match the efficiency of that one.
Building a house from scratch and paying for a carpenter, etc., usually is about the $400 to $500 from what I can tell, a house like this. Can I ask the question, what did it cost you to build this house based on your materials?
Well, it's a tough question to ask because it was done over a long period of time, and there's a lot of accumulation that wasn't, you know, really kept track of. But I've thought about it, and I'd say it's around $70,000 in materials.
Right. So that's what you paid for from Craigslist people, from vendors that you paid for. Naturally, you're a craftsman, and you've got those skills to assemble and put this house together. So it's a huge saving right there, right?
Oh yeah, very much so. If I had to build this house, I would expect to be around that $400,000 range.
A great trade to have behind you, okay?
It is a great trade. It's a trade I love, and I've done it my whole life, and I'm very happy with it.
Doug, it's been really impressive. You're a true inspiration of what you and Cindy have built over these last 10 years and given these materials a complete second life. You know, so thanks for the tour. I loved it, absolutely loved it.
Well, thanks for coming, and I enjoyed giving you the tour, and I enjoy sharing it with others.
Well, you're a good friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom.